Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. The sad thing is that these parents think that if they make a big enough stink, people will back down, because they probably have in the past. We start our video with a story about a crazy mom who tried to break the rules and failed. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled mother tries to get me fired from my job. So this happened around 7 years ago, so sorry if I'm a little fuzzy on details of specific parts. I used to work as security for a small amusement park in Southern California named Knott's Berry Farm. One of the basic jobs as security is standing at the front gate and checking bags for items not allowed in the park. One of the biggest areas of this was food. Due to contracts with partnering companies, only food that belonged to partnering companies, such as Coca-Cola products at One Looks before they switched to Pepsi, was allowed inside the front gates. That and homemade food. What this meant was that if you went to the park down the street to the McDonald's or Subway and tried to bring it inside the park, security would politely inform you that it was not allowed inside and that you were more than welcome to eat it in one of the food areas before coming inside the park. That or throw it out. We would occasionally make exceptions, however. For example, if a kid was finishing a Happy Meal and it was almost gone, or a Subway sandwich that was nearly finished, I'd let that slide. It's a kid's food and it's almost gone. I'll take getting bitched at by my boss for that, no big deal. Oftentimes, however, a family would come in with $40 to $50 worth of fast food and claim it was all for their child and demand I let them bring it inside. This specific scenario involved a family with an extremely aggressive mother. We'll call her EM. EM comes up to the front gate with her husband, a 9 or 10-year-old, and a 1-year-old in a stroller. She's perfectly polite as I say I need to check their bags for weapons and items not allowed in the park, all up until I find their giant bag of McDonald's. Me. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry to say this, but we don't allow this outside food in the park. You're more than welcome to go over there to the food court and finish it first, though. I don't want you guys to have to waste your money and just throw it all away. EM. No, that's not going to happen. You can just let us bring it inside. It's fine. Me. Ma'am, I can't allow that, or else I could lose my job. Park policy, including the one on the back of your tickets, specifically states that outside food is not allowed. EM. Well, it's for the baby. Me. Stares at massive bag of McDonald's that could feed 10 people all of this. This is all for the child? Ma'am, he's like 1 year old. This isn't for him. I'm not dumb. EM. This is bullcrap. Y'all just being a bunch of a-holes. EM looks at another ticket person standing just inside the gate behind me. Well, do something. Help me out. You know this is bullcrap. The woman behind me stays silent and just kinda looks away. She's dealt with this stuff just as much as I have and wants none of it. I move over to the side and get on my radio to tell dispatch to send the watch commander out to the gate for a family causing a disturbance. As I'm halfway through talking to dispatch, I hear the ticket lady behind me yelling, TL, ma'am, stop! You cannot come in with all that. You've already been told no. EM had tried to use me being on the radio as a distraction to quickly get inside. Thankfully, the ticket ladies usually don't put up with crap like this. They get tired of it just as much as I do. I tell her she can't do that as my watch commander comes running up due to the commotion. EM to my watch commander as she pulls her phone out and starts recording. Your employee is a racist piece of crap. What? And should be fired. He's not allowing us to bring our child's food in. I want him fired. Now, do it. I'll go to corporate about you bullcrap butts. My watch commander isn't falling for her crap and takes the family off to the side. He comes back 30 minutes later and tells me that we won't be seeing them in the park ever again and not to worry. I did a good job. I have no idea what happened because it wasn't my place to ask. But I can only assume he basically told them to F off and that they were banned from the park. No, that's not going to happen. You can just bring it inside. It's fine. I don't know why people try this Jedi crap as if it was ever going to work. And our second story. How an N cost my company $65,000. I've been waiting about 2 months for this fallout in all its glory. I knew my boss would try to make me the fall guy. A little backstory. I work as an office engineer at a mid-sized prefabricated concrete structures plant. About 3 months ago, our plant manager left spontaneously for a much higher-paying gig down south. Due to this, his responsibilities were distributed to whoever had capacity. I was put in charge of purchasing with the caveat that any purchase order, PO, over $5K had to be reviewed by that project's project manager. This was due to a mistake, due in part to my inexperience and in part my overconfidence. I made on an order which only cost us a couple grand but delayed a project. Also, due to lower labor costs and the size of our own steel shop, we have most of our large steel structures fabricated just across the border in Canada. Okay, on to the story. Our general manager is acting PM on a project which includes a large steel frame surrounded by concrete modules. I was told to get this frame quoted by our Canadian metal fabricator. I get the quote back and throw together the PO. When I look back through the project specifications before sending the PO for review, I see our project has a Buy American clause, not Buy America as we had assumed. Almost all of our projects are Buy America, and we're very familiar with it. This little N makes all the difference. Under Buy America, a Canadian fabricator can use American steel and meet every requirement. However, under Buy American, all steel must be domestic and all fabrication must be done in the U.S. My GM was out of town on what was essentially a vacation to a project site we have in Hawaii and was having none of my calls and emails marked as urgent. I informed him in a couple of emails and multiple voicemails that we had to go with a different fabricator or the product would be rejected. I got an angry email back telling me to place the order immediately. I tried one more call in desperation, straight to voicemail, then sent him over the completed PO with the Buy American spec attached, telling him this is well over my $5K limit and I needed to get him to approve it before I sent it out. He approved it in less than 10 minutes. I sent it and waited for the fallout. Well, it finally happened. Our product was delivered yesterday, and today the project owner sent over an inspector to make sure everything was done per project drawings. He noticed the manufacturer right away and told us he'd have to reject the product purely because it does not meet Buy American. In less than 20 minutes, I was getting an earful from my GM asking why this wasn't caught before we wasted over 60 grand on something that would clearly be rejected. I let him finish his rant, insulting my intelligence, threatening firing me, breaking protocol, the works. I asked him to pull up my emails from the order date and showed him that he was informed of the issue and my concerns were ignored. He didn't take this well and told me to get the hell out of his office. Oops. Now there's nothing left but to wait. Our project will be delayed at least a month and the owner of our company is getting involved. I have the emails saved on a jump drive at home, and the phone logs, while not recording the conversations, show that I left multiple voicemails on the same date, cannot be touched by the GM. Still a bit nervous, but I think I covered myself pretty well. Edit. So I actually ended up leaving the company mainly due to poor management. I never really got in trouble for this, but my GM was always a jerk to me afterwards. Bad management can be reason enough to leave an otherwise good job. Life's too short to put up with that BS. And our next story. Entitled mother threatens with police after her son is yelled at for throwing cement at my house. So this all happened some time ago, but someone brought this story back from my memory and I decided to write here. I live on a Latino country and the houses are normally stuck together. And most of the houses also have a small patio, so my neighbor can just look over their wall and see my own patio. Of course, normal people won't look at your house even if it's possible. This kid, let's call him Entitled Son, ES, is one of my neighbor's kids. This family always lived at the side of my house, and they're a big family. The mother has 7 kids, and they're all little brats. Everyone in the neighborhood complains about them. They like to run in the street and randomly play the doorbell of other people's houses. My mom even turned off the doorbell of my house because of this. Now when someone visits us, they have to scream. But at last, this stopped the demon spawns. They also play hide and seek during the night at the street without supervision, and this is killing one of my neighbors with concern. She's an elderly woman and stays awake more than necessary to watch this woman's kids. Everyone complained with her, and she never restrained her kids, saying things like, "This is just how kids are sometimes. They need to have some good childhood memories. Don't worry about what kids do. They're going to grow up sometime." My mom used to say how I and my sister never were this bad when we were kids, but this just led her angry. And she said to my mom once, "Easy to say when you have just 3 kids. If I had only 3, I would also have more behaved children." My mom replied her with, "So you should have had less children." And since then, the woman's been kind of a fight with my family. After the fight, the kids have been more vicious. She let them play on her sidewalk. My father almost ran over one of her kids with the car because they were playing at the entrance of the garage. One of them used crayons to draw on our wall, and when my younger sister's in the balcony, they start to call her names and things like ugly cowface and run back to your mommy, you boring bee. And this left her very embarrassed. My mom stopped complaining after she realized that the woman was the one allowing her kids' behavior. This all summed up when her family was making a renovation at their house. There was a lot of cement and construction materials at her house, in particular a ladder. They were using the ladder to renovate the roof. Most of the renovation in houses at my country are made by the people who live there, so it didn't have any construction worker or something like that. The ES, this little brat demon-spawned son of an old bee, decided that it would be funny to use the ladder to climb the wall that separated our houses, and in his now privileged position start throwing cement at my house. Now angry, my sister, that is tall and was almost in the wall size, just grabbed the kid's hand and said to him, "Throw that again and I'm going to throw it back at you." And in that moment, he started to cry. His mom came running and immediately started shouting at my sister, saying, "You're a young adult abusing a 10-year-old. She was 19, and "I'm going to call the police on you." And was then that all the family heard and was there. In the moment, I just knew the summed up info. The a-hole was throwing things at my house and my dog, and also started to shout at her. The woman wanted to bring this to a real fight. She, my mom, and my older sister walked out to the street just to scream at the face of each other. My mom, after some time hearing my sister and the woman, said, "Control your kid better. He was throwing dangerous things at my house." And the woman said, "Control your daughter. She hurt my son," and then she tried to threaten us with calling the police. My father, that was inside with my younger sister, came out and says to the woman in a very calm voice, he's a lawyer and is used to stressing discussions. It's a crime to climb at others' houses. It's also a crime to hurt dogs or cats that have owners. I will gladly take you to court if you continue with this crap. His words made her shut up. She then looked angrily at all my family, take her son, that was still crying, and returned back home. She hadn't spoken with us since, thank God. All the neighborhood heard of what happened and started to treat her more coldly. Almost all my neighbors have dogs. What she always complained about. They're dangerous animals. I don't want my kids near them. And stayed on our side, what was good since this calmed her down. My mom still hates her and always gives her the look when they cross paths. Just heard my aunt mention this story at a family party and decided to tell you guys. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.